Okay, so this is basically my part two. It's late and I just took a shower, don't judge me. Um, so, was that Disney Pixar stuff? Find the cards. So, basically they were debating whether or not Disney and Pixar should keep their deal because Pixar was doing really well by itself, but Disney still needed the support. But Pixar wanted to break off because they were doing a lot better than Disney, and Disney was trying to take them over. So they ended up keeping their deal. And the iPod, since Disney also owned ABC, then the iPod had the capability and like the screen to put TV shows on it. So they partnered up with Disney and they put some ABC shows on. So, like, yeah, I really shouldn't say that. I can't find any of these cards that I've written down, honestly. 18, 22 or something. I don't know. So, basically after that, they wanted to do new, computers, kind of like laptops. So they did the iBook, which was 1999, the Power Mac G4 Cube in 2000, which was not successful, and the Sunflower Mac, which was like a screen on a movable Mac with a base thing. In 2005, they started using the popular Intel microprocessors, which you really see on really any Windows computer that has a sticker right here that says Intel inside. So then in 2003, he was starting to have problems with food and everything, and it turned out he had pancreatic cancer. And so he had a lot of eating problems, trying to go through therapy and everything. And then in 2008, the cancer had come back. But before then, they realized that they needed an iPhone because Motorola Droid was starting to come out with smartphones and everything, like the Droid Razr. And so they came out with the iPhone in 2007. And they had a special reveal for it. They invited the 1984 Mac team back to the reveal. And the phone was really expensive. It was $500, which was the most expensive in the world on the market at that time. And then, so the iPhone, it's obviously doing really well now and everything. I haven't finished writing the cards yet. So he ended up needing a liver transplant for his for his cancer and everything. But in California, he was really low on the wait list, even though he like could buy his way through. So in Tennessee, in Memphis, he could put his name in on like a transplant wait list, and he was actually pretty close to the top. So then in 2009, he could get a transplant and everything, which was good. The iPhone 3GS came out in 2009 when the 3G networks started coming out for like, so you don't need a lot of cell signal, the 3GS. That came out in 2009. he was always working on the iPhones, trying to make them even simpler than they were before. The iPod Nanos, I'm all out of order now. iPod Nanos came out the same year. Cool. I didn't know that. Even though I've already read this. The iPod Nanos came out, and then the iPad. Actually, I should probably write this down. I'm going to simplify this afterwards. But the iPad was a tablet, as we all know. And it was basically meant to be something you could just hold and play with. It's like, I guess, a computer with all the stuff you can do in a computer just without the keyboard, and easier to carry around later. So the iPad unveiling was in 2010. Not so long ago, 4 years ago. I don't remember that. He said it's more than a laptop. Rereading the book here. Basically, at the reveal, he used the iPad to do basically anything that a normal laptop could do, but he basically just showed how cool it was. Of course, people managed to find things wrong with it. There wasn't a camera. No, there was a camera. No, there wasn't. Yeah, no cameras. You couldn't multitask. There wasn't a flash player on it. And then, yeah. So basically, like, the iPad came out. By 2011, there were 500,000 apps for the iPhone, iPad. And, like, that's when the App Store started up and everything. And so they did ebooks as well, just like Amazon. And they ended up selling books for more than on Amazon, but it was making it so that the publishers weren't getting ripped off. Like, Amazon was selling what would be hardcover books for only $10, whereas they would be worth $28. So that wasn't really fair to the publishers. Go to a random page and read something from it. iPhone 4 in 2010. Yeah. So the iPhone 4 seemed to have a little, like, a couple problems and stuff. Dropping calls and everything. The iPad 2 came out in 2011. So basically, for the iPad 2, Apple had put GarageBand and iMovie on it, so that it was a bit better. He revealed what he had put on his iPad, which he just had 3 movies and a book. So so in in 2011, his cancer came back again, and obviously we know that he died in late October 25th, 2011, from the end of his struggle with cancer. And yeah, I'm probably gonna like redo this section sometime. I'll redo like a shorter thing. But anyways, yeah.